Hello friends, welcome back. In this video lesson, we'll learn 30 common business English expressions you can use when speaking in English. Together, we'll go through the common expressions, we'll go through the definitions, and we'll go through a few examples to better help you learn, but most importantly, remember them when speaking in English. Friends, before we go through these common business English expressions, I would love to hear from you. Tell me in the comments below this video, how are you currently learning new expressions or new phrases in English? Are you reading? Are you writing? What are you doing to learn and remember new vocabulary in English? Let's begin with the lesson now. Let's begin with the first expression, and that expression is a tough break. Friends, when something unfortunate happens, something bad happens, something beyond your control, then you could use the expression, it was a tough break. For example, it was a tough break for us when Mary was on sick leave. Those days were really hard and we really struggled. The next expression, to go back to the drawing board, means to start planning again, to start over and to start from the very beginning and to plan your ideas again. For example, me and my colleagues, we'd started working on the new project, but our boss didn't like where we were heading. He told us, look guys, you have to go back to the drawing board and do it all as we want it done. Now 24/7 is quite interesting. I use it a lot in spoken form, many other English speakers do as well, and basically this means that something or someone is working 24 hours and 7 days a week. So instead of saying we never close, we work 24/7. We're always open. Now, in the situation that your company, your boss, or your colleagues are doing something in secret, they're not doing it in public, you could use the expression behind the scenes. Behind the scenes is a great expression to be using when something is happening in secret. It's away from the general public. For example, Apple is working on a great new project behind the scenes. Now, if something's happening differently, it's not following a normal routine. Say, for example, in your company, everybody has normal routines and procedures that they follow, but something is happening very, very differently. In these situations, you could use the expression a change of pace. For example, today our team worked at our local cafe and it was a nice change of pace. Here, change of pace is being used as it's different. It's different from our usual or standard routine. Now, the expression to come up short is a very often used expression to describe the fact that maybe you've been working really, really hard to achieve a goal, but you just missed out on achieving that goal. So you were almost there, but you just missed out. You just came up short from achieving that goal. For example, in the last financial quarter, Bob was given the goal of reaching sales totaling 1 million euros, but he just came up short. He didn't meet his end goal. Here in this sentence, he didn't miss it by much. We don't know how much, but he missed it maybe by a few thousand, maybe a few 10,000. He just came up short. Now, you may have heard the expression big picture. This doesn't mean in business English, literally a big picture. No, here the big picture means the whole situation. For example, Mary and Bob are working in the same company. They both have really small tasks to complete on a daily basis, but every single day their boss tells them about the big picture so that they know exactly what they're working on. Here, the big picture doesn't mean that big picture on the wall, it means the whole situation, the whole goals that company has. Now, the expression 50-50 basically means that something is divided equally. It's divided into two equal parts, hence 50-50. For example, my business partner and I split everything 50-50. So instead of saying equally, we could just say 50-50. It means the same thing. Now, in the situation that maybe an employee or a company is ahead of the curve, this means that they are ahead of the competition. So they are doing something really well, they have a competitive advantage maybe, but they are doing something really well and they are above, ahead of their competition. For example, Apple is investing a lot in R&D to stay ahead of the curve of their competition. Now, in a situation that maybe a company or a person does something by the book, It means that they do everything by the rules. They follow all the rules, they don't take any shortcuts, they do everything that needs to be done according to all of the rules and regulations which are set out, be that by the regulative body or by the company. They basically follow the rules 100%. For example, Mary tries to do everything by the book to avoid issues with the tax auditors. Now, in the situation that you have to go back to square one, I personally hate these situations, but basically, friends, if you have to go back to square one, it means that you have to start everything over from the very beginning. Maybe there was an issue, there was a complication, for some reason you have to start everything over again. For example, our team worked on solving that problem for 10 hours, but after working for so long, we realized we were heading in the wrong direction and we needed to start back at square one. In the situation that you're at work and you have a little bit of competition with maybe your colleagues or other people, or maybe your company or the company that you're working for has a lot of competitors, but you want to stay ahead of the game, you want to stay ahead. Maybe your boss or your manager says, hey, we want to stay ahead of the pack so that we win the market share in the long term. Notice here, friends, the expression to be ahead of the pack. If you're ahead of the pack, it means that you are more successful than your competitors, be that as a company or as an individual. For example, maybe you have an intern position at a company and your boss tells you, hey, you've got to put in the hard work now, get ahead of the pack so that you can get promoted in half a year, in a year, or in 5 years' time. In the situation that you're at work and you've been working really, really long, you're exhausted and you want to finish work. Instead of saying, let's finish work, you could use the expression to call it a day. Friends, to call it a day means basically to finish or to stop working. For example, me and Mary, we've been working for 9 hours straight and I'm exhausted. I just told Mary, let's call it a day. Here, what I'm basically saying is, Mary, let's just finish for today. Now, a common acronym you may hear English speakers using in written form is ASAP, and I tend to use it quite often in spoken form, being ASAP. Friends, if somebody says, can you do that for me ASAP? Basically, what they're telling you is, can you please get it done? Can you do it as soon as possible? Now, in the situation that you've started a new business or a project, but you had nothing, you just had an idea, you could use the expression, I started the project from the ground up. This means that you had no resources, you had nothing, and you built it yourself. For example, Richard Branson built Virgin from the ground up. So he worked from the very beginning to build it up to where it is today. But in the unfortunate situation that maybe you go broke. If somebody or if a company goes broke, basically it means that they have no more money. They go bankrupt. Broke is a little bit more of an informal expression you can use to describe that somebody's gone bankrupt. They have no more money. For example, Mary invested everything in company XYZ, but unfortunately, due to some poor decision making, they went broke. In the situation that maybe you, as an individual employee or a company, has wasted something or lost something. In this situation, you could use the expression to go down the drain to explain that something has been wasted and it's been lost. For example, our company invested $10 billion in advertising, but it all went down the drain as it wasn't planned out properly. Here, to go down the drain is being used as it was a complete waste of money. The expression to go the extra mile means that either an employee or a company or an individual is working extra hard than what is expected of them. For example, the staff at Tesco work extra hard, they go that extra mile to keep us customers satisfied. Now, the expression to go through the roof means that something's increasing rapidly, really fast. For example, Microsoft's share prices have gone through the roof over the last 24 hours. Here, this means that they've increased rapidly, really fast. Now, in a business setting where maybe you're negotiating a contract or some deal, but there's an area that's not clear to you. In this situation, you could describe this as being a grey area. Friends, a grey area is something that's not really clear to you. It's maybe not being defined well, it's not being explained well, it's a grey area. For example, we got given a new employee contract yesterday, but I have to go through the contract with my lawyer. There's a few grey areas I don't really understand. Now, the phrase "there's a lot at stake" is a very often used phrase you may hear English speakers using to describe that there's a lot at risk. Here, stake is used to describe risk, and if there's a lot at stake, it means there's a lot at risk. For example, our boss is really nervous about presenting our ideas to the management board as there really is a lot at stake. The project requires a lot of heavy investments and a lot of risk. There's a lot at stake. In a situation maybe that you've surprised somebody by doing something, or somebody surprised you with an idea, you may have caught them off guard. Friends, if you catch somebody off guard, or if you're caught off guard, it means that you're taken by surprise, something unexpected. For example, our boss wanted to buy the new shipping company. It really caught us off guard. We weren't expecting it. Now, in the situation that you're negotiating, you know what you want, but maybe somebody's managed to persuade you to accepting their deal or their way of thinking. You may have caved in. Friends, to cave in means to give in or to agree to something that you previously didn't want to agree on. For example, Mary wants to change the working conditions at her job, but her supervisor refuses to cave in. Now, if you're a person or you're working for a company that likes to take the easy way out, the easy option, and maybe not spend as much money as required, you like to take shortcuts. In this situation, you could say that the company or the person likes to cut corners. You like to take the easy option. For example, in our company, we don't like to cut corners, as in the long term there are no benefits. Now, if you decide to cut one's losses, basically it means that you stop doing something that's bringing no results. So you're stopping doing something which is not beneficial at all. For example, Mary's advertising campaigns were expenses. She decided to cut her losses and end those campaigns. Now, these two expressions, blue collar and white collar workers, are both common expressions I'm sure you've come across when doing business or simply just talking in English. Now friends, a blue collar worker is somebody who works with their hands. They may be a tradesman, they may do something physical. For example, carpenters, plumbers, electricians, these are all blue collar workers among many other professions. But a white collar worker is somebody who works in an office. So they don't do, as per se, physical work, but they work inside, maybe they work on a computer, they have some sort of job indoors. This could be customer service, management, marketing, etc. In a situation that you, an employee or a company, is very ambitious, you have big goals, big dreams, you could say that you think big. To think big is a great expression you could use when speaking in English to say that you're ambitious, you have great goals and dreams. For example, Mary's not happy with only having one store in her local city. She's thinking big and she's opening up 3 stores at different locations around the country. Now, in the situation that at your job you may have some problems that you need to resolve, and your boss may tell you, hey, try to think outside the box when solving those problems. Yeah, if your boss is telling you to think outside the box, they're telling you to be creative. They're telling you to try to think of unconventional solutions instead of thinking of the most common solutions. Finally, if something is difficult to achieve, there's many obstacles, there's many hurdles, there's a lot of problems on the way, you could say that resolving that problem is an uphill battle. For example, Mary wants to be the president of the management board, but she needs to be voted in. It's going to be an uphill battle for her to get all the votes that she needs. Uphill battle here is used because there's a lot of obstacles. There's a lot she needs to do to get there. There you have it, friends. Use these 30 common business English expressions to better help you express yourself in business or work settings in English. Remember, friends, to join the discussion in the comments below this video and tell me, how do you learn and remember English words? Now, if you like this video lesson, make sure to like it, Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so that you get the latest lessons I post here on my YouTube channel, and be a good friend. Help your friends learning English by sharing this video lesson with them. Thanks for watching, thanks for being here, and I look forward to seeing you in the comments below this video. Bye for now.